Hi and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. My name's Harriet. In today's video I want to talk about some books that I am excited to read this year. I'm sorry if I sound a bit funny. I went for a run this morning for the first time in a while and my throat really hurts from breathing so much. But hopefully the more I talk the better it will get. Yeah, so this is going to be a list of different books that I'm really excited to read this year. Some of them I would have talked about really briefly on my channel, so I'll kind of skim over those, but there are others that I haven't spoken about before, so I'm excited to get into those. Okay, let's get started. So if you've been watching my channel for a little while now, you'd have seen my Lord of the Rings review and how much I adored the trilogy, but that I didn't read The Hobbit. So The Hobbit is going to be one of my anticipated reads for 2021. I do want to get to it this year. I've put it on my wish list and everything. I have heard that it's a little bit more light-hearted than Lord of the Rings is and a little bit easier to read, so I am excited to get to that. I have seen the 3 Hobbit films, the extended editions as well, so I'm going to know roughly what's going on, but not all of it. Same as the Lord of the Rings. It didn't really affect my reading experience, so I don't think it will matter that much. But as well as The Hobbit, I realised I didn't actually read the appendix to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so I need to read that because I've heard that there is a story about Aragorn and Arwen, and I really enjoyed their relationship in the films, but didn't get a lot in the books. So I should read the appendix really, so I can read their story because I think I'd really enjoy it. I got told about it on my Lord of the Rings review video by one of my subscribers, so thank you for pointing that out for me. Yeah, I'm just excited to continue on with that journey. Next will come as no surprise, I would like to read more Jane Austen. So I have read Emma, Persuasion, Pride and Prejudice. The ones that I have got at home, I've got Mansfield Park, Northanger Abbey, Lady Susan, The Watsons, Sense and Sensibility, and Sanditon. So those are the ones that I want to get to this year. I know there's quite a few, but I find them quite easy to read. And they're also good to break up the high fantasy series that I'm going to be reading this year, so I'm excited to get to those. Sticking on a theme of authors, I would love to read more Ursula Le Guin, mainly her sci-fi novels, because I haven't read any of those yet. Again, they're on my wish list, so I'll pick them up when I can. But her writing so far has completely encaptured me. I think it's wonderful and beautiful, and it's just so lovely to read, so I'm really excited to pick up more works from her. If there are any particular books that you've read by Ursula Le Guin that you think I should pick up, because there are quite a few, leave them down below. There's one called Lavinia that I really want to pick up. That looks super interesting, but I don't know too much about it. Yeah, but hopefully I can pick up more works by her this year. I'd really enjoy that. I've only got, I say only, I've got about like 25 books on my TBR. I can't count them all because they're not all with me, some of them are at home. But at the moment I think I'm 22 out of 50 books through my reading challenge for the year on Goodreads. I've had to up it because when I started I was like, oh, I'll just read 15 books, and I read that in about a month and a half. So yeah, I had to up it to 50 and I'm about halfway there, which is crazy. I can't believe I've read that much, but it's not like I'm doing anything else at the moment. So yeah, it's been fun. Hopefully I'll have some room to read more books. Next up is the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. I've spoken about this on my channel before. I think it's on my anticipated reads video, so you can watch that. I'll leave it down below for you. But I've heard many good things. I got comments saying that I should definitely read it, and I also got comments on my Bookstagram page saying that I should read it too. So I'm excited to get to these. They are beautiful, kind of retro looking editions. They're so lovely. The only thing is they're huge. They're quite thick books, so yeah, and the writing's tiny as well, so it's going to take me a really long time to read these. So I have been putting it off a little bit. I was hoping to get to the first book this month, but I've not been very good with my reading this month. I've had a lot going on. I've had some car troubles. I've also started writing for a blog as well, so that's taken up a bit of time. And to be honest, I've just not been very well. I've been having headaches all the time, and my motivation has just hit an all-time low, but that's fine. I'll get better soon, and hopefully I can get to these books as soon as possible. How are you guys getting on? Are you still in lockdown? Are you coming out of lockdown? I know some places are just going back into lockdown. Here in the UK, hopefully the shops will be opening in a couple of weeks and I'll be able to go back to work. I don't know how I'm gonna manage all of these extra things that I've taken on board when I'm back at work. I usually work 5 days a week, but I'll find a way somehow. Yeah, but how are you getting on? Are you doing all right? A lot of people I've spoken to, again, are feeling the same as me, like super unmotivated whether they're at work or not, but just hang in there and I promise things will get better. Anyway, enough of the lockdown talk. I want to read Song of Ice and Fire series. This one's Game of Thrones. I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to start it this month. By the time this video is up, I'll probably have started it. I am just about to finish the last book in Ursula Le Guin's trilogy as I'm filming this, and by the time you're watching it I'll definitely finished it. And then I want to read a book in between, which I'll show you now actually. Yeah, because I haven't spoken about this yet. I got it at Book Swap. It's called The Silver Kiss by Annette Curtis Claus, and apparently it's like a 90s original Twilight, and it's really short and I'm just super excited to read it. I think the cover is not nice, but that's personal preference. But hopefully the story itself is really good, so I'm excited to read this after Ursula Le Guin's Powers, which is the last book. I'll read this and then I think I'll get to Game of Thrones. Which, back to that, again it is a chunky boy and the writing is tiny, but I have seen the series obviously. Again, I've spoken about this on my channel before. It's a really big anticipated read for me, but I think from watching the series that will help me to understand a couple things that are going on, so hopefully I'll be able to read it pretty quickly. But this is going to be a journey, so I'm very excited for this. Another book that I'm excited for, though I've heard many mixed reviews since I picked it up last year, is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I have heard a lot of people say that the relationship in this is really toxic and not nice to read, but to be honest, I'm still really intrigued. So I have heard many good and bad things about it. I'm excited to give it a go and see if I like it or not. Hopefully I do. But that has been on my TBR for maybe a year and a half, so it's been on there for a little while now, and it would be good if I can get started with it. Oh, okay, another book that I would like to read is The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. I started to read this about 5 years ago and I had a bit of an existential crisis because it was talking about kind of like why we're here, and I wasn't expecting it to. And if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I'm not very good at death, and it kind of freaks me out a little bit thinking about life. So I had a bit of a panic attack when I read it last. I'm hoping now that I've read a little bit more and I'm a tiny bit more comfortable with the concept of life and death. Hopefully I'll be able to read it. If not, I just won't read it. But I have seen the film and I've seen I think it was a BBC series that came out as well. I kind of enjoyed them both, but I think I'll enjoy the book more if I can read it. One that I am really excited for is Kikis Delivery Service by Eiko Kadono. I am sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but I loved the Studio Ghibli film when I watched it with my partner recently. Similar to Howl's Moving Castle, I might have hinted that I would like to read it, and I got it for Christmas from my partner, so I'm very excited to start that. It's a very short and whimsical tale, really magical and wholesome, about a young witch and her coming into her powers and learning how to use them basically. It's a very short read too, so I might use that between Game of Thrones or maybe between the Farseer trilogy just to break them up a little bit. And the last book that I would like to talk about is Queenie by Candice Carty-Williams. This looks like a really interesting slice of life novel. It touches on a couple of hard-hitting topics that I think would be really good for me to read. Again, this will be something that is really good to break up those higher fantasy novels that are a little bit longer. I've heard that it's mainly quite light-hearted. Again, I've heard some mixed reviews because of the relationships that are in this novel, but I don't think that's going to bother me too much, and I'll be able to focus on the characters a little bit more. I've had this on my list for as long as I've had Normal People on my list, so both of those are definitely waiting to be read on my shelf. So I'm very excited to get to those this year. And yeah, they are the main ones I want to talk about that I haven't really spoken about on my channel before. There are many more, believe me, that I want to read. I even want to read a couple more of Hans Christian Andersen tales and the Grimm's Brother tales as well, to again break up those larger fantasy series. But I thought I'd just show these ones because my TBR is constantly changing. What I thought I would read in March, I have chopped and changed about. I haven't really had the time to do it, so that will take me into April. But that's fine. Whatever I'm in the mood for reading at that time, I'll just pick up and read. I don't really beat myself up about it too much. But yeah, we'll just see how things go this year, and hopefully I can get to all of these books this year. If not, I'll just get to them next year. Yeah, are there any books that you are all excited for to read this year or next year? Anything you'd recommend me reading? I'm open to everything. I'd really like to try some more sci-fi and some more romance as well. But that's it for today's video. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!